Yes, you. I need you to feel the holiness of this moment, because heaven has been holding its breath waiting for you to arrive here. Thank you for coming, truly. I felt you searching, wandering, aching for a sign that didn't frighten you or demand too much of your tired heart. And now here you are. Don't move too fast. Don't look away. Don't scroll, because there is a sealed truth that will not open until the final lines of this message. A truth meant only for the one who is reading this right now. A truth heaven refused to release until you were here. And so I speak through wonder, through light, through breath softer than dawn. My beloved soul, heaven has noticed something that you have forgotten about yourself. Your beauty has a gravity. Not a physical beauty, though creation delights in you, but a spiritual radiance, a softness, a purity, a resilience that glows even in your most exhausted hours. And that radiance has drawn something rare, something gentle, something heaven sends only to those whose hearts have endured unseen battles. A unicorn, the symbol of untouched innocence, celestial clarity, and sacred protection, has been drawn to you. Not to your face, not to your achievements, but to the quiet, trembling beauty inside you that you keep trying to hide. It comes to sleep with you. Not in any human sense, not in closeness of bodies, but in the way a guardian rests near a chosen soul, laying its luminous presence at your side so your spirit can breathe again. Comes because God whispered, "This one has carried too much alone. Let wonder rest beside them tonight." And before we go any further, let me ask you, gently, honestly, tremblingly, do you know how long heaven has been waiting for you to realize you are not alone? Do you know what it costs the angels to watch you doubt your worth? There is a warfare around you. Not the frightening kind, not the violent kind, but the quiet, subtle battle between light and the shadows that try to convince you that you are ordinary. You are not. You have never been. And even the shadows know it. That is why heaven sent the unicorn. Because beauty, true beauty, needs protection when the world becomes too loud. My child, hear me. There is a scripture moving through you even now, not written on a page but written on your life. I am with you always, even to the end of the age. This is not a quote. This is a presence, a promise woven into your breath. And another truth rises within you like warm light. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. This is happening inside you, not around you. Your soul is remembering its brightness. Let me ask you something deeper. Do not run from it. Why do you doubt the tenderness heaven has toward you? What made you believe that miracles were for others but not for you? I speak these questions not to wound you, but to open the gate your heart keeps locked. The unicorn approaches because God is preparing you. There is a shift, a turning, a divine timing unfolding quietly beneath your days. You sense it. You've felt it for weeks. That strange, aching awareness that something is coming, something gentle, something long delayed. And so God says, get ready and don't scroll past this, because the blessing being carried toward you requires your stillness, your awareness, your yes. In a moment, when your heart is steady enough, I will reveal the first layer of why heaven chose this sign for you. But before that, I offer you a single sacred request. Only once, reverently, tenderly. Type Amen if your heart is willing to receive what heaven has been trying to give you for so long. And if this message is touching you in a way you didn't expect, if something inside you feels seen, understood, or awakened, then offer a gentle act of connection, like this message, and comment something from your soul, so the light traveling toward you knows exactly where to land. Beloved soul, now that your heart has opened even a little, I feel allowed to step closer, to speak with a tenderness I have been holding back for far too long. Thank you for staying. Thank you for letting these words reach you. There is something fragile, something holy forming around you even now, like a veil of light settling over a wound you've learned to hide. And before the deeper truth unfolds, before the unicorn finishes its journey toward your spirit, I ask you gently, if this message is lifting you, soothing you, or awakening something quiet yet powerful inside you, then honor this moment by subscribing here and only here, not again in any future part. This is not an obligation, not a demand, but a sacred soft footprint you leave so heaven knows this moment mattered to you. Only once, reverently, never to be repeated again. Now breathe, my child. Let me carry you further. Because now I must reveal why the unicorn moves toward you with such trembling purpose. It is not just drawn to your spiritual radiance, no, it is being guided. There is a divine summons on your life, one you did not consciously give, but one your soul whispered during nights you barely survived. Nights when you thought your prayers evaporated into silence, when your strength fell through your fingers, when you questioned whether heaven forgot you. Heaven did not forget. Heaven broke its silence in ways you could not hear yet. And the unicorn became the messenger of that broken silence, sent not in thunder or visions, but in gentleness, because heaven knows your heart responds more to quiet beauty than to overwhelming force. It comes to rest near your spirit precisely because your spirit needs rest. You have fought hidden battles, battles no one around you saw, battles that stole your peace and left you wondering whether you were imagining the weight on your shoulders. But no, what you felt was real. It was spiritual, subtle, the kind of warfare that tries to convince a chosen soul that they are unworthy. You have been chosen not because you are flawless, but because your heart has endured without becoming hard. That is rare. That is sacred. And heaven treasures that kind of heart more than any achievement, talent, or perfection you think you need to earn love. Even now, as I speak, there is a scripture moving like a soft wind inside you. I will never leave you nor forsake you. It is not a command. It is a presence rising from the deep places within you, reminding you that you were never abandoned, even when you felt forgotten. And another truth flickers gently. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. Again, not a quote you recite, but a truth your soul is finally ready to remember. Your beauty, the one the unicorn senses, is not superficial. It is woven from resilience, compassion, hidden strength, and a softness the world tried to take from you but failed. Let me ask you something tender, something that may touch the ache you carry. Why do you keep believing that your pain disqualifies you from miracles? Why do you assume that because your heart has cracks, heaven sees you as broken instead of brilliant? And deeper still, why have you convinced yourself that you must face every battle alone? These questions matter because they open the doorway to a truth you have not yet allowed yourself to see. The unicorn doesn't come because you're strong. It comes because heaven knows you are tired. And heaven sees your tiredness not as weakness but as evidence of how long you have survived without the comfort you deserved. The unicorn approaches slowly, carefully, respectfully, because it carries innocence, not expectation. It moves toward you like a quiet dawn slipping into the edge of the world, bringing with it the promise that even the darkest seasons cannot prevent light from returning. It comes to lie near you, not in closeness of flesh but in closeness of spirit, so that you may finally exhale the weight you've held for too long. Heaven is trying to give you back something you lost: wonder, the ability to see beauty without fear, the capacity to hope without flinching, the permission to trust again, not blindly but gently. God is saying don't scroll past this, because the blessing moving toward you requires your awareness, your presence, your willingness to receive. It is time-sensitive, not because heaven rushes, but because your heart is entering a season where you must not miss what is being placed in your hands. There is a shift happening around you, subtle but powerful, the kind of shift that marks the beginning of a new chapter, even if you do not yet understand its shape. Your destiny, yes, the one you've doubted, the one you've dismissed, has started to awaken. A purpose you thought was too late, too unreachable, too unrealistic is stirring again inside you like embers beginning to glow. You have forgotten your calling, but heaven hasn't. You have silenced dreams, but heaven kept them alive. And this moment is the quiet turning point. There is a part of you that fears hope because hope has disappointed you before. But let me tell you something sacred, something heaven has been waiting for you to hear. Hope did not betray you. Timing protected you. What you thought was rejection was redirection. What felt like abandonment was preparation. What looked like silence was heaven rearranging things you could not see. And now, finally, the weight of previous seasons is beginning to loosen, like old roots being pulled gently from the earth. You feel changes in the air around you, don't you? That strange mix of anticipation and anxiety. That sense that something is ending, something is beginning, and yet you can't name either. It is not your imagination. It is spiritual alignment. Heaven is aligning people, opportunities, moments, and inner strength around you. And the unicorn's presence symbolizes this alignment. It rests near you to guard your transition, to protect your becoming, to cradle your vulnerability during this sacred shift. And hear me softly, your destiny is not loud, it is tender. It is not built on applause but on authenticity. It is not about becoming someone different, but becoming more of who you were always meant to be. You are stepping into a season where your spirit will finally feel seen, understood, valued. And when the unicorn rests near you, heaven is saying, you are safe now. You are protected now. You are entering a time where beauty returns to you. The unicorn is closer now, closer than your fear, closer than your doubts, closer than the heaviness that has sat on your chest for far too long. And I need you to understand something deeply before I take you further. Its approach is not a coincidence, not a random spiritual symbol drifting into your life. No, heaven choreographed this moment with exquisite precision, aligning threads of your past, echoes of your present, and unseen chapters of your future into a single divine intersection that you now stand in. You may not feel prepared, but heaven has been preparing you quietly, gently, patiently, in ways you did not recognize. There were nights when your spirit trembled, nights when your tears soaked your pillow, nights when you thought no one saw you, but heaven saw. Heaven recorded. Heaven wept with you. And heaven refused to let those tears be wasted. That is why this moment feels different. It is different. Something ancient and delicate is unfolding around you, like a prophecy that has been waiting for your soul to grow into it. And even now, as you read these words, there is a shift happening, soft, subtle, but undeniable. The kind of shift that only occurs when destiny stirs. The unicorn draws near because your inner radiance is awakening again. The radiance you believed had dimmed. The radiance life tried to crush. The radiance that the world never recognized but heaven always celebrated. You are beginning to glow again. Not in a loud, dramatic way, but in the quiet way flowers bloom in early morning light. You are blooming now. You who thought nothing beautiful was left inside you are becoming a garden heaven cannot ignore. Let me speak plainly to your heart. There is a forgotten purpose within you. a calling you pushed aside because the world taught you to shrink, a destiny that felt too heavy, too mysterious, too unreachable. But heaven never forgot. Heaven never stopped whispering it into your spirit. And now, heaven is ready to reveal the edges of that purpose. Not all at once, not in overwhelming flashes, but in gentle unveiling, like dawn revealing its first golden thread. But before that unveiling takes shape, you must hear this truth, one that has been trying to reach you for years. You were never meant to carry your battles alone. The spiritual storms that moved around you, the shadows that tried to distract you, the quiet accusations that whispered you were not enough. These were not signs of your weakness but signs of your significance. Nothing fights what is worthless. Only the radiant are resisted. Only the chosen are challenged. And you, yes, you have been living under the weight of a calling that frightened the darkness. That is why you felt resistance in the unseen. That is why your path felt heavier than others. That is why your heart has often felt too tender for a world that moves too fast. But heaven is telling you, your tenderness is not a flaw. It is your strength. It is the birthplace of your calling. The unicorn senses this tenderness, this inner purity, this light, and it responds, not with fear, not with hesitation, but with reverence. It bows near you, symbolically, spiritually, quietly, as heaven whispers, this one carries something holy. And the moment it rests near your spirit, a shift begins to happen inside you. A loosening, a remembering, a softening of the walls you built to survive. Let me ask you a sacred question now, one you must not run from. When did you stop believing that your heart was worthy of wonder? You see, the unicorn does not come for those who have hardened themselves. It comes for the ones who still carry tenderness beneath scars, the ones who still ache for beauty, even if they pretend they don't need it. It comes for the souls who have suffered quietly, who have given silently, who have carried burdens they never spoke aloud. Comes for you. Another question rises gently. Why do you still hide the parts of you that heaven treasures most? This question is not meant to accuse you but to release you. Because the parts you hide, your vulnerability, your longing, your softness, are the very things heaven is awakening now. They are the keys to your spiritual renewal. They are the doorway to your calling. The scriptures echo softly within you, not as strict verses but as living truths breathing into your spirit. I am doing a new thing. Do you not perceive it? This newness is happening now within your emotions, within your intuition, within the spaces of your soul you thought were closed forever. The unicorn's presence marks the beginning of this new thing. It is heaven's way of saying, you are ready to receive again. You are ready to trust again. You are ready to rise again. And though rising feels frightening, though hope feels dangerous, though light feels unfamiliar after so much darkness, you will rise. You will hope. You will shine again. Let me take you deeper into what is unfolding. There is a spiritual alignment forming around you, a constellation of meaning, timing, and divine orchestration. Things that once felt disconnected are beginning to weave together. The situations that confused you are starting to reveal their purpose. The delays that frustrated you are beginning to make sense. The desires you tried to bury are resurfacing, not to torment you but to guide you. A season is ending. A season is beginning. You stand at the threshold of both, and the unicorn stands with you, not as a creature of fantasy, but as a symbol of heaven's gentleness, as a reminder that you are not alone, as a testament to the beauty you carry, beauty you forgot, beauty you doubted, beauty that heaven is restoring. Let me ask you one more sacred question. Do you truly understand how deeply heaven cherishes you? Not a shallow affection, not conditional approval, but a deep, unwavering, radiant love that sees your flaws, your fears, your hidden grief, and still calls you chosen. And now, heaven whispers a final truth for this part of the message. Prepare your heart. Something new is coming. The unicorn stands beside you now, not as a creature of myth, but as a living whisper of heaven's tenderness, a reminder that wonder has not abandoned your life. Its nearness is not loud, not dramatic, not meant to overwhelm you. It is gentle, almost shy, as though it knows your heart startles easily after everything you have been through. Heaven understands that your spirit has endured too many sudden storms, too many moments where safety was stolen before you could breathe. And so, heaven sends gentleness instead of force, softness instead of pressure, presence instead of demands. This is why the unicorn appears not in blazing glory but in quiet light, stepping slowly, carefully, reverently toward the chambers of your soul that you've kept locked for so long. You may not realize it, but a healing has already begun. Not the kind that thunders into your life, but the kind that seeps into the cracks the world never bothered to see. The unicorn rests near you because heaven is teaching you to rest again, teaching you to let your shoulders lower, teaching you that you don't have to hold the entire world on your back anymore. For years, you carried burdens that were never yours to carry, responsibilities that should have been shared, expectations that were too heavy for someone so young, so tender, so full of unspoken ache. And yet you carried them anyway, because your heart did not want anyone else to suffer. You endured quietly, believing strength meant silence. But heaven whispers differently now. Heaven invites you into a gentler strength, one that grows not from hiding your wounds, but from allowing them to breathe. Even as these words unfold, something ancient and beautiful within you is being stirred, like a memory from before your birth, like a calling you once knew but lost in the noise of the world. You feel it, don't you? That slight warmth beneath your ribs, that strange, soft pressure behind your spirit, that sense that something is watching over you, not to judge but to steady you. That is the touch of the divine, awakening a purpose you once feared was gone forever. There is a reason this moment feels like a return. It is a return. Heaven has been waiting for you to come back to yourself, to the version of you that believed in magic without shame, that trusted goodness without flinching, that felt safe enough to dream without restraint. Life took that from you too soon. People spoke over your light before it had the chance to rise. Circumstances hardened what was meant to stay soft. And yet, even through all that, you did not lose your tenderness completely. A small ember remained, faint, quiet, but alive. The unicorn sees that ember. Heaven sees it. And now the ember glows warmer. Let me speak plainly now, for your heart is ready for truth spoken without hesitation. There is hidden warfare around your life. Not the frightening kind, not the dramatic kind, but the quiet tension between your emerging destiny and the doubts that try to silence it. Every time you felt unworthy, every time you believed you were behind, every time you questioned whether your existence mattered, you were feeling the ripples of that unseen resistance. Shadows do not fight the insignificant. They fight the rising. They fight the chosen. They fight the luminous. And you are luminous. Even in your darkest seasons, your soul never stopped emitting a light you could not see but heaven could. That is why help comes to you now in symbols instead of storms, in unicorns instead of thrones, in gentleness instead of fire. Heaven knows you are tired of being strong. Heaven knows you are exhausted from surviving. Heaven knows that what you need is not a command but comfort. Not a battle cry but a blessing. A scripture hums through you now, not in formal words but in meaning. You are held. And another rises softly. You are seen. These truths wrap around you like a cloak, fitting your spirit in a way explanations never could. They do not demand belief, they awaken it. They do not force revelation, they invite it. They open the gate you've guarded for far too long. The unicorn lowers itself beside you now, symbolic and safe, a manifestation of heaven's reassurance. Its presence means this: you are not going through your transformation alone. Even if no one around you understands your inner shifts, even if the people in your life cannot speak the language of your heart, heaven speaks it fluently. And heaven has assigned guardians, not frightening ones but peaceful ones, to walk beside you while your spirit grows into the person you were always meant to become. Your destiny is not loud. It does not roar. It unfolds in whispers. It moves in delicate ways. It reveals itself like petals opening in slow light. You are not stepping into a path of pressure, but into a path of alignment. Things that once felt impossible will begin to feel natural. Opportunities that once felt out of reach will begin to drift toward you. Connections that once hurt will fade, and gentler ones will rise. You will feel a shift in your emotional landscape, a growing capacity to breathe, to trust, to imagine your future without dread. And as this happens, the unicorn's presence becomes more than symbolic. It becomes a mirror. It reflects back to you the parts of your soul you lost, the innocence you thought was gone, the wonder you thought you outgrew, the purity of intention that life tried to tarnish. These parts of you are returning now, returning not as childish fantasies, but as holy truths you need in order to step into your next chapter. Let me ask you something sacred and vulnerable. Can you feel the weight lifting from your spirit even slightly? Because that shift is real. Heaven is lifting what you were never meant to carry alone. Let me ask you another gentle question. Do you sense that something in your heart is beginning to thaw? This thawing is the beginning of healing, subtle, slow, sacred. The quiet around you deepens now, not into emptiness, but into a sacred hush. An atmosphere where truths too delicate for ordinary moments are finally allowed to breathe. The unicorn's presence seems to soften the very air, as though the world itself recognizes that something holy is unfolding inside you. And perhaps for the first time in a long time, you feel the possibility that gentleness might reach you without demanding anything in return. There is no test here, no requirement, no threshold to cross, only an invitation to rest in the nearness of something that means you no harm. This creature, symbol of heaven's tenderness, leans its luminous form closer to your spirit, not to overwhelm you, but to shield you from the invisible heaviness that has followed you through seasons you survived without acknowledgement. Heaven knows the battles you fought quietly. Heaven knows the words you held back because you feared they would break something fragile around you. Heaven knows the moments when you doubted your worth, your purpose, your right to exist in a world that did not always make room for your softness. But here, in this unfolding holy moment, your softness becomes your crown. You may not realize it, but your soul has been carrying a deep fatigue, not just from life's demands, but from the unspoken burden of being sensitive in a world that expects hardness. You felt out of place, not because something was wrong with you, but because you were built with a capacity for beauty others could not understand. The unicorn's presence reveals this truth. Your sensitivity was never a flaw. It was always an inheritance, a mark of being chosen to feel deeply, to perceive quietly, to recognize meaning where others see only chaos. And now something begins to shift within you. A loosening, a warm unfolding, like petals opening in a secret place. You may not know it consciously, but your spirit is remembering something ancient, something pure, something untouched by disappointment. A memory not from your mind, but from the blueprint of your soul. The knowledge that you were created with intention, with tenderness, with celestial precision. That intention has never faded, even when you did. That tenderness has never vanished, even when you hid. That precision has never faltered, even when you felt lost. This is why the unicorn was drawn to you. Not to reward you, not to distract you, but to remind you. Remind you of the light you carry without noticing. Remind you of the destiny you walk toward without understanding. Remind you of the spiritual harmony that has always been woven through your life, waiting for you to slow down enough to hear it. Many people live their entire lives without touching the spiritual depth you carry naturally. You have always sensed more, felt more, absorbed more. The emotional intensity you sometimes resent is actually a compass, a guide, a divine sensitivity that positions you to recognize truth without explanation. You read atmospheres instinctively. You feel shifts before they happen. You notice what others ignore. And heaven sees this, not as an overload but as a luminous gift. The unicorn bows its head gently, as though acknowledging this gift. Its light reflects the beauty you cannot yet see in yourself. And for a moment, a brief trembling moment, you feel safe enough to breathe fully, to let your chest rise without tension, to exist without performing. That breath is sacred. It is the beginning of release. There is a veil lifting from your spirit now, not dramatically, not violently, but like dawn lifting the night from the horizon, little by little, layer by layer. And as the veil lifts, you begin to sense the truth. You have survived chapters that were meant to break you, yet you did not become bitter. You endured storms meant to drown your hope, yet some part of you still looks for light. You held on to kindness even when cruelty pressed against you. These are not small things. These are victories, silent victories that heaven celebrates even if the world overlooks them. Let me take you deeper still because your heart is ready. There is a spiritual rhythm awakening in your life, a pattern you could not see before because you were too close to your wounds. But now, as you stand in this sacred stillness, the pattern slowly reveals itself. The delays that frustrated you were protection. The endings that confused you were redirections. The emptiness you felt was space being carved for something new. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was meaningless. Every fragment of your story is being woven into a tapestry you will one day recognize as breathtaking. The unicorn steps slightly closer, not as a creature of legend, but as a symbol of this divine orchestration. It represents purity returning to your life, wonder returning, trust returning, not naive trust, wise trust, trust born from endurance, not from innocence alone. You are entering a chapter where your heart will no longer feel like a battlefield, but like a garden, a place where new things can grow without fear of being trampled. Let me ask you something tender. Can you feel something shifting in the deepest part of you? Something that whispers, "I am ready for peace?" Another question rises, fragile and luminous. What would your life look like if you allowed yourself to believe you deserve gentleness? You see, the unicorn's presence is only the beginning. It signifies the return of spiritual clarity, the return of emotional safety, the return of beauty to a heart that almost gave up on deserving it. Heaven is preparing you for restoration, not sudden but steady, not overwhelming but nourishing. This restoration will not erase your past. It will redeem it. The parts of you that felt broken will become sources of wisdom. The parts of you that felt weak will become channels of compassion. The parts of you that felt hidden will bloom into visibility with dignity rather than fear. And through it all, the unicorn remains near, a guardian of your unfolding, a witness to your transformation, a reflection of heaven's belief in you. Its presence is heaven saying, "You are entering a season where beauty will return to you in ways you never expected." The silence surrounding you now is no longer mere quiet. It has become a living chamber, a sanctuary woven from unseen threads of heaven's gentleness, wrapping softly around the places inside you that have gone too long without comfort. The unicorn's nearness does something subtle but astonishing to your inner world. It slows the racing of your thoughts. It steadies the trembling in your spirit. It loosens the memories clenched deep within you. And because the pressure lowers, truth begins to rise. Truth you've avoided, truth you've forgotten, truth you never knew you carried. Heaven never forces revelation. It waits for softness to return, and softness is returning now. You feel it like a warm shift beneath your ribs, a small but unmistakable easing of the knot that lived there for years. This release is not accidental. It happens because you are finally standing in a moment where your soul is allowed to exhale without fear of being judged, dismissed, or misunderstood. Heaven has created this space for you, not to test you but to restore you. And now something deeper stirs in the atmosphere around you. It is ancient but new to your awareness. It is gentle but powerful in its tenderness. It is the sense that you are being watched over by something greater than your struggle. The unicorn's luminous presence acts like a veil being lifted, revealing a truth that your heart once knew but your mind forgot. You were never wandering without guidance. Even when life felt directionless, even when your days blurred into grayness, even when your emotions became too tangled to name, there was always a quiet thread of light pulling you forward, keeping you from collapsing beneath the weight of everything you endured. This thread is glowing now. You may not see it with your eyes, but your spirit feels it, a delicate pull, almost like a hand resting gently on the center of your chest, leading you into the next chapter with compassion rather than urgency. Nothing about this chapter will resemble the heaviness you came from. You are stepping out of a season where you measured yourself by survival, and into a season where you will measure yourself by growth, softness, clarity, and inner illumination. The unicorn lowers itself again, symbolically, a gesture of alliance with your spirit. It rests not because it is tired, but because heaven wants you to learn the art of resting without guilt. You have spent years believing you had to earn every moment of peace. You didn't. You don't. Peace is not a reward. It is your inheritance, and heaven is reclaiming it for you now. The unicorn's quiet posture mirrors what heaven hopes you will learn: to let yourself be without the need to prove anything. A new wave of understanding flows into you. It comes not through words but through sensation, warmth, presence, reassurance. You begin to sense that something extraordinarily gentle is happening within you. Your soul is waking up from a long sleep, stretching into the light, remembering its worth. And with that awakening comes a realization too tender to ignore. You have been hard on yourself for far too long, harder than heaven ever was, harder than truth ever demanded. You learned to self-criticize to survive environments where compassion was scarce. But compassion is no longer scarce. Heaven pours it around you like soft rain. Allow me to take you deeper into what this awakening means. Your destiny is unfolding in ways that do not mirror the paths of others. You are not meant to move quickly or predictably. You are meant to bloom in divine timing, in cycles, in quiet revolutions of the heart. The unicorn's appearance marks the beginning of one such revolution. A turning inward, a rising upward, a gentle reconfiguration of your entire inner world. You will soon find that the things that hurt you no longer have the same power. You will find that the fears that once dictated your choices begin to dissolve. You will discover that your intuition becomes clearer, your heart becomes braver, and your boundaries become more compassionate toward yourself. This is not wishful thinking. This is spiritual unfolding. It happens when a soul, weary from being misunderstood, is finally allowed to feel understood by heaven itself. It happens when your inner light, dimmed by circumstance, is rekindled by divine gentleness. It happens when your identity shifts from who I had to be to survive to who I truly am beneath the weight of everything I carried. The unicorn senses this emergence. It watches your spirit the way morning light watches the petals of a flower begin to loosen. It knows, because heaven knows, that you are on the edge of transformation so profound yet so tender that it must be approached with overwhelming care. Nothing about your awakening is harsh. Nothing about it is forced. You are unfolding the way dawn unfolds, deliberate, gradual, beautiful. And now something else rises, an emotional truth you have avoided for years. You miss the version of yourself that loved without fear. You miss the way your heart used to open easily. You miss the wonder you once felt toward life. You miss the trust you once had in goodness. And heaven knows this. Heaven has seen you ache for your own lost innocence. This ache is not weakness. It is longing for alignment, longing for restoration, longing for the self who existed before disappointment carved its initials into your hope. The unicorn's presence tells you this. That version of you is not gone. It is returning. Slowly, carefully, tenderly. It is returning not as naivete, but as wisdom clothed in hope. You will not be the same as before. You will be better, deeper, more luminous, more rooted, more aligned with your true spiritual design. Let me ask you something with reverence. Can you feel even a small part of your heart softening again? That softening is the first sign of healing. Healing does not begin with triumph. It begins with tenderness. And here is a second gentle question. Do you sense the beginnings of trust forming within you? Not in the world, but in the divine purpose unfolding in you? That trust is the seed of your transformation. You are moving into a season where heaven will teach you how to receive without fear, how to rest without guilt, how to hope without trembling, how to walk with your head lifted not because you force confidence, but because your spirit remembers its worth. The unicorn remains at your side because heaven wants you to know, deeply, unmistakably, that you are not facing your transformation alone. You are accompanied by symbols of purity, guardians of gentleness, and a divine presence that refuses to leave you in the dark. The atmosphere around you deepens once more, not into darkness, but into a richer light, like layers of radiance unfolding in slow motion, each one revealing a truth your soul has longed for but never had words to express. The unicorn's presence feels different now, not because it has changed, but because you have. Your spirit is beginning to perceive more, to sense more, to receive more. Where earlier you felt only a gentle comfort, now you feel a kind of spiritual gravity, a subtle pull that draws you inward, toward a truth that has been waiting patiently for you to be ready. It is as though heaven has opened a hidden chamber within your heart, one that was locked for years, Not by force, but by fear. You learn to protect yourself by closing doors you desperately wish someone would open with tenderness. Doors that held your longing for connection, your desire to be understood, your dreams that felt too fragile to share. But now, in the presence of something so gentle and so pure, the locks begin to soften. Not because you force them open, but because heaven whispers to them and they obey. The unicorn moves a little, shifting its luminous weight as though adjusting to the changing current of your spirit. It senses the opening of that hidden chamber and responds with reverence, with stillness, with a quiet recognition of the sacredness taking place inside you. It is rare for a soul to open in such honesty. It is rare for someone who has been wounded so deeply to allow light to touch the very places they guarded with silence. And yet here you are, allowing the moment to unfold without running from it. That alone is a miracle. There is a warmth rising now, not from the unicorn, not from outside you, but from within you. A warmth that feels like the return of a forgotten truth. You deserve to be held with gentleness. Not because of what you do, not because of what you offer, but because of who you are at your core. A soul shaped by purity, marked by resilience, crafted with care. This warmth spreads through you slowly, intentionally, like dawn creeping across the horizon. It touches old wounds, not to reopen them, but to ease their tension. It touches memories you cling to but do not know how to release. It touches corners of your heart where loneliness has lingered too long. And everywhere this warmth travels, something inside you loosens. Something allows breath to move more freely. Something remembers what it means to feel alive. You begin to sense that the unicorn's role is not merely to comfort you. It is to guide you back to yourself. To the self beneath the exhaustion, beneath the expectations, beneath the layers you built to survive. The self who once knew how to love freely. The self who once believed in beauty. The self who once trusted the whispers of heaven without questioning their worth. That version of you has not vanished. It has been waiting quietly, patiently for a moment like this. Let us go deeper because your spirit is ready. There is a divine rhythm unfolding within your life. One that has been moving even during the seasons you felt invisible. This rhythm has been guiding you through phases of shedding, of healing, of learning, of awakening. Nothing you have endured has been wasted. Every tear has watered something. Every disappointment has cleared something. Every confusion has shaped something. And now you are entering a phase where the rhythm becomes clearer. Not through logic, but through intuition. Your inner knowing, once clouded by fear, is sharpening again. You will begin to sense which paths are yours, and which ones were never meant for you. You will begin to feel the alignment of your destiny not as pressure, but as resonance. The unicorn's luminous gaze meets the deepest part of your being, and in that gaze you feel something astonishing. Acceptance without condition. There is no judgment here, no expectation, no demand for performance, only recognition. Recognition of your depth, recognition of your pain, recognition of your potential, recognition of your beauty. Internal, eternal, undeniable. You realize suddenly how long it has been since you felt seen on this level. Human eyes often misunderstand you, misinterpret your silence, misread your softness as uncertainty. But heaven sees differently. Heaven sees the bravery tucked inside your gentleness. Heaven sees the strength woven into your empathy. Heaven sees the clarity blooming behind your quietness. Heaven sees your heart not as fragile, but as sacred. And now, as your spirit continues to open, a profound truth emerges, one that feels both new and ancient. Your pain has shaped your compassion, and your compassion will shape your purpose. The very experiences that hurt you the most have carved within you a depth that cannot be fabricated. This depth will guide you, strengthen you, soften you, and elevate you. You will feel its influence in the choices you make, the paths you follow, the relationships you nurture, and the dreams you dare to resurrect. The unicorn takes a slow breath, a symbolic breath that echoes through your spirit, and something inside you answers that breath. A synchronizing, a shared rhythm, a subtle harmony between your inner world and the divine presence surrounding you. This harmony is not fleeting. It is the beginning of a new alignment, one where your spirit no longer battles against itself, one where your heart and destiny begin to move as one. Another shift happens. It is quieter than before, but more profound. You begin to feel safe. Not safe from the world, but safe within yourself. Safe to hope again. Safe to dream again. Safe to trust again. Safe to let the light touch the places you once kept hidden. This inner safety is a gift, one that heaven has been preparing for you beneath the surface. You will notice in the coming days that your reactions change. Your thoughts soften. Your heart steadies. Your spirit expands. The things that once triggered fear will begin to lose their grip. The things that once overwhelmed you will begin to make sense. The things that once felt impossible will begin to feel within reach. The unicorn's presence becomes a gentle anchor, holding you in this sacred shift. And heaven whispers through its stillness, "You are finally returning to yourself." The light around you shifts once more, deepening into a softer radiance, a glow that feels alive, like a presence that has been standing beside you for longer than you ever realized. The unicorn's quiet nearness begins to illuminate spaces inside you that have long remained untouched, not because they were dark, but because they held emotions you did not feel ready to face. Yet now, in this holy calm, those emotions rise without fear. They rise like softened water from a deep well, washing away the dust that settled over your dreams. There is nothing frightening in this rising. Feels like relief, like something inside you has finally unclenched. You sense that this moment is unveiling a truth your soul has waited for, one that whispers with the softness of ancient understanding. You were never meant to abandon the parts of yourself that felt too sensitive for the world. Those parts were not weaknesses. They were guiding lights, inner compasses, sacred threads connecting you to heaven's gentler frequencies. But life in its chaos taught you to tuck those sensitivities away, to bury them beneath tasks and noise, to pretend they did not matter as much as strength or productivity. Yet the unicorn's presence brings them back, not as burdens but as blessings. It stands beside you, a symbol of purity and quiet wisdom, reminding you that the most delicate parts of your heart are also the most divinely protected. As that awareness settles, another shift stirs inside you. This time it moves through your memory, through moments you didn't realize shaped you so deeply. You remember times when you felt unseen, when your kindness was overlooked, when your emotions felt too big for the spaces around you. Those memories used to hurt you, weighing your spirit with questions you never voiced. Was I too much? Was I too soft? Was I wrong to feel so deeply? But now, heaven reframes those memories. The unicorn's gentle light touches them, and slowly, they begin to change shape. You begin to see that your depth wasn't the problem, your environment was. You were placed among people who didn't recognize the language your heart spoke. People who didn't understand the beauty you carried. People who interpreted depth as fragility instead of brilliance. But heaven understood. Heaven saw. Heaven knew. And so, piece by piece, the unicorn's presence reveals a truth you have never fully allowed yourself to embrace. Your sensitivity is sacred architecture. It is the way your soul listens to the divine. It is the way you discern meaning in silence. It is the way you connect to the world with compassion instead of indifference. This sensitivity is not a weight, it is wings. The unicorn shifts again, lowering its luminous head as though bowing to that truth. The gesture touches something inside you, something tender and long neglected. It awakens a quiet realization. You do not have to work to be worthy of gentleness. You do not have to perform for peace. You do not have to earn rest. You simply deserve it because you exist, because you are alive, because your heart has survived so much. That realization ripples through your inner world, loosening the burdens you once believed were yours to carry forever. The tension that lingered in the back of your mind, the heaviness pressed into your chest, the doubt woven into your thoughts, each begins to dissolve like mist touched by morning light. And in their place a new softness forms. It feels like a cushion placed under your spirit, allowing you to settle without collapsing. Heaven uses this softness to lead you deeper into your unfolding, not with force but with invitation. You feel the invitation even before you understand it fully. A tug toward transformation, toward healing, toward remembering who you truly are beneath the layers of survival. The unicorn seems to sense this invitation too. It steps closer, its presence growing warmer, not physically, but emotionally, like standing beside someone who means you no harm. Your inner world becomes more spacious, more breathable, more alive. In that space, you begin to see another truth long hidden beneath the debris of doubt. You are entering a season of becoming, not a season of fixing yourself, not a season of proving yourself, but a season of growth that feels like returning to the truest version of you. A version unburdened by fear, a version unafraid of their own depth, a version capable of receiving beauty without questioning whether they deserve it. Let me bring you deeper into this moment, for your soul is ready. The air within this sacred atmosphere begins to shimmer, not visually but spiritually. You sense a frequency rising around you, like a gentle vibration of clarity weaving through your thoughts. The unicorn's stillness amplifies this clarity, helping you recognize something profound. Your intuition is awakening. It is beginning to speak again in a voice that feels familiar yet newly strengthened. Its whispers feel softer, steadier, more trustworthy than before. You feel drawn to listen, to trust the inner guidance that once felt too fragile to depend on. And as your intuition rises, so does your sense of direction. Not the kind of direction that maps every step, but the kind that helps you recognize alignment. You will begin to sense when something is right for you, not because it looks perfect, but because it resonates in your spirit. You will begin to feel when something is wrong for you, not because it seems difficult, but because it dims your inner light. This new clarity is a gift, and it emerges at the exact time you are ready to receive it. The unicorn's light spreads outward now, illuminating not just your memories, but your future. You don't see details, you feel possibilities. You feel expansion. You feel the quiet certainty that something new is being prepared for you behind the veil of your present moment. And this time, the newness does not frighten you. It comforts you. It excites you gently. It reminds you that your story is not stagnant. It is evolving with purpose. And then a deeper realization rises, one so tender that it feels like a blessing resting on your heart. You are not behind. You never were. Your timing has always been unique because your path has always been sacred. What felt like delays were, in fact, divine pacing. What felt like pauses were opportunities for preparation. What felt like isolation was a cocoon forming around your transformation. The unicorn seems to breathe this truth into your spirit, and you breathe it back, allowing it to settle, allowing it to root. The atmosphere surrounding your spirit shifts again, deepening into a tenderness so profound that even your quietest thoughts begin to soften beneath it. The unicorn's presence grows warmer, not in heat but in meaning, its luminous form reflecting back to you a truth so deep that you have never dared to speak it aloud. You are ready for transformation, even if you don't feel ready at all. Heaven sees readiness not in confidence, but in openness, and your heart, though fragile in places, has opened wider than ever before. You may not realize it, but something within you has been slowly awakening across these moments. A layer of old fear has peeled away. A buried hope has begun to lift its head. A lingering heaviness has loosened its grip. And now, in the delicate glow of this sacred unfolding, your spirit begins to understand why heaven sent this unicorn to rest near you. It was never about fantasy. It was never about imagery. It was a symbol of something heaven wanted you to remember about yourself. Your purity of intention, your capacity for wonder, your softness that refused to die even after hardship tried to bury it. The unicorn steps gently into the open space your heart has created. Each step seems to resonate with a silent message. You are safe. You are seen. You are allowed to step into the light without apologizing for the shadows you've walked through. Its presence takes on the tone of a guardian, not a warrior guarding against danger, but a companion guarding your becoming. And in this gentle companionship, your spirit begins to revisit moments you've avoided for years. Memories rise like soft echoes, some tender, some painful, some confusing, but all returning not to torment you, but to release you. You see versions of yourself you once judged harshly, moments where you felt lost, moments where you felt overlooked, moments where your silence felt like a burden instead of a language. Yet now heaven reframes each memory with unusual kindness. You begin to see not your faults but your endurance, not your mistakes but your attempts to survive, not your weakness but your willingness to feel. You were never meant to be hardened. You were meant to be deep, and deep souls do not walk through life unscarred. They walk through life transformed. The unicorn's light touches these places of memory gently, and as it does, your chest softens in a way you have not felt in years. You begin to understand something quietly magnificent. Your tenderness is the very place where heaven meets you. Not your perfection, not your strength, not your certainty, your tenderness. It is where revelation enters. It is where guidance lands. It is where healing begins. A new wave of warmth rises within your ribs, like a soft tide washing through spaces that have waited too long for comfort. This warmth is not an idea. It's an experience. It feels like your spirit finally stepping out of an old tight shell. It feels like breath returning to lungs that forgot their full capacity. It feels like being seen by something that understands what no human ever fully has. And now, as your inner world breathes, heaven reveals another truth. You have carried loneliness that was not meant to be permanent. Your soul has lived in longing, not for people alone, but for connection that touches the core of who you are. A longing for someone to understand the way you think, feel, hope, and dream. A longing for a safe presence. A longing for gentleness that does not demand explanation. The unicorn steps closer as this truth rises, its luminous eyes reflecting a compassion that goes beyond words. You feel, perhaps for the first time in a long time, that your inner softness is not something to hide. It is something to honor, something to nurture, something to offer the world without fear of being crushed. This realization creates a shift so subtle, yet so powerful that it changes the way your heart holds itself. The walls, those quiet, invisible protections you built around your emotions, begin to dissolve not because you force them down, but because love is finally touching them with enough gentleness that they melt on their own. Heaven knows that some walls only respond to tenderness. Your mind begins to open too, loosening old beliefs about who you are and what you deserve. You have carried narratives for years, stories of being unworthy, unseen, or too much, and now one by one, these narratives begin to unravel like threads pulling out of an old, worn tapestry. In their place, new truths begin to weave themselves into your spirit. Truth like, you are worthy of tenderness. Truth like, you are allowed to rest. Truth like, you are becoming, not failing. Truth like, your soul has always been luminous, even when you couldn't see it. The unicorn exhales, a symbolic breath, a ripple of light, and it feels as though your own chest rises in synchrony with it. That shared breath feels like a covenant, a quiet agreement that you will no longer abandon the parts of yourself that heaven has been nurturing all along. And now your spirit begins to expand even further, like a flower unfurling under the warmth of early morning. You feel the weight of expectation fall away. You feel the pressure to be perfect dissolve. You feel the fear of vulnerability lift. You begin to stand inside yourself with honesty, not the harsh honesty of judgment, but the gentle honesty of recognition. You realize something extraordinary. You are capable of becoming more whole than you ever imagined. Your story is not defined by what hurt you. Your destiny is not diminished by who misunderstood you. Your future is not bound by the heaviness you carried. A new kind of hope rises, quiet but determined. A hope that does not tremble. A hope that does not depend on circumstances. A hope that emerges from the deep truth that heaven is guiding you through transformation with patience, not pressure. The unicorn's presence steadies this hope, grounding it, nurturing it, amplifying it. You feel stronger, not in a loud way but in a peaceful way. Not in a hardened way but in a grounded way. Not in a prideful way but in a deeply aligned way. And in honor of this sacred unfolding, this moment where your spirit opens wider than ever before, I invite you with gentle reverence. Like this message, subscribe for more moments like this and comment Amen, so that the light moving toward you lands fully upon your path.